this whole recording action. So we'll see how this goes. So I'm still recording this class, letting you all know for Zoom. But the key thing is the files have a lot of data. So anytime I try to upload the recorded Zoom class, it takes up a lot of time, especially trying to upload it to Blackboard. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but I'll keep trying to put those things up. So if you go to the folder, if there's a folder that says like Zoom class recordings, you don't see anything, it's because I'm still trying to figure this data out. But whew, thank you all for being here, and I appreciate it. So really, we're trying to cover a little bit of ground today. First of all, how's everybody doing so far? You know, good to see you all. Hope everyone's safe. By a thumbs up, there should be a little button at the bottom of your screen that says reactions. By a thumbs up, how many of you all saw the announcement about reading response number 8 being due on Friday? I'm gonna throw my thumbs up. Okay, James, okay, cool, I see that. All right, Russell, all right, everyone else, okay. So yeah, good. A few people saw the announcement about the reading response number 8 being due on Friday. Cool. How many of y'all have also seen that I posted the announcement about short paper number 2 being due on Saturday by 11 p.m. Okay, I see a thumbs up there. Anyone else? Check their announcements and see that I extended the due date. Okay, very good. I see some other folks that are putting thumbs up. So that's good. All right, good. So I'm still in the midst of trying to catch up with providing you all with commentary on your essay proposal forms. And at this point, just get your essay proposal forms in on time. I'm not penalizing anyone for turning it in past the due date at this point because we're kind of playing catch up. So don't worry about any 5-point deductions because you turned in your essay proposal forms in a little bit past the due date. I'm not sure what everyone's enduring or dealing with. Just the fact that you make it to class virtually, I appreciate that. So don't worry about points or anything like that. So that said, I'm gonna do my best throughout the rest of the day to hop on to Blackboard and provide comments and such for your papers and also provide grades for those of you that turned in the second draft of your short paper number 1, Poetry Expectations. And I'll also check emails and stuff too for various types of things. So, there's some more people jumping in. It's also really taking me a while to answer emails because of the high demands with the internet and such. But here is what we're gonna do today. All right, so remember, we're in the unit on fiction. And first on Tuesday, we talked about chapter 4, which was just kind of the breakdowns of what fiction is and the difference between a narrative and then the details of how fiction works as a narrative, but it's mostly a story that's told in a certain order from the brain of the imagination of the writer. So the next few things that we need to check out by a show of thumbs, let's see. How many of you all read the 3 short stories that were in the chapter 5 fiction sampler? That's Love and Catastrophes, a mixtape, Girl, and Slide to Unlock. Got any, have any thumbs up? Anybody read these? Anybody read them? Anybody? Anybody read? No? Okay, so said no. All right, so here's what I offer right now. The first half of the first portion of this class, and I don't know, I think some of y'all may have the books in front of you, that's cool. If you don't, what I'm going to do, and I think maybe I asked this last time, but if it would be helpful, because these stories are so short, I can read them. So like that's my gift to y'all today is for those of y'all that have not read these short stories, you're about to get a Professor Derek Brown narrative reading of the 3 short stories, Love and Catastrophes, a mixtape, Girl by Jamaica Kincaid, and Slide and Unlock. So really for this first portion of class, that's what I'm gonna be doing. So, so settle in. I'm about to read these 3, and they don't take that much time either. And so at least that way you'll have, the readings under your belt. And then also we'll talk a little bit about plot. which is also part of chapter 6 and 7. Because we'll talk a little bit about graphic fiction and what a cool genre it is. And we'll also talk about plot. Is that cool? Can I get a thumbs up for all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of y'all? Okay. Can I get a thumbs up? No? No thumbs up? All right. 1 thumbs up. Thank you. Okay. 3 thumbs up. 4 thumbs up. Can I get 5? Can I get 5? 5 thumbs up. All right. Well, the 1, 2, 3, 4 thumbs up have it. I'm going to read the first piece, which is Love and Other Catastrophes, a mixtape. And if you got the book in front of you, that is page 84. So keep that in mind in your text. All right, thank you. Oh, we got a 5th thumbs up. That's cool. So boom, here we go. All right. Let's Love and Other Catastrophes, a mixtape. All by myself, Eric Carmen. Looking for love, Lou Reed. I want to dance with somebody, Whitney Houston. Let's dance, David Bowie. Let's kiss, Beat Happening. Let's talk about sex, Salt and Pepper. Like a Virgin, Madonna. We've only just begun, The Carpenters. I Want to Be Your Boyfriend, The Ramones. I'll Tumble For You, Culture Club. Head Over Heels, The Go-Go's. Nothing Compares to You, Sinead O'Connor. My Girl, The Temptations. Could This Be Love? Bob Marley. Love and Marriage, Frank Sinatra. White Wedding, Billy Idol. Stuck in the Middle with You, The Steelers Wheel. Tempted, The Squeeze. There Goes My Baby, The Drifters. What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. Where Did You Sleep Last Night? Lead Belly. Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under? Shania Twain. Jealous Guy, John Lennon. Your Cheating Heart, Tammy Wynette. Shot Through the Heart, Bon Jovi. Don't Go Breaking My Heart, Elton John and Kiki D. My Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus. Heartbreak Hotel, Elvis Presley. Stop in the Name of Love, The Supremes. Try a Little Tenderness, Otis Redding. Try a Little Bit Harder, Janis Joplin. All Apologies, Nirvana. Hanging on the Telephone, Blondie. I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie Wonder. Love Will Keep Us Together, the Catherine and Tennille. Let's Stay Together, Al Green. It Ain't Over Till It's Over, Lenny Kravitz. What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina Turner. You Don't Bring Me Flowers Anymore, Barbra Streisand and Neil Diamond. I Wish You Wouldn't Say That, Talking Heads. You're So Vain, Carly Simon. Love Is a Battlefield, Pat Benatar. Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now, The Smiths. Can't Get No Satisfaction, The Rolling Stones. Must Have Been Love, But It's Over Now, Roxette. Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, Neil Sedaka. I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor. Hit the Road, Jack, Mary McCaslin and Jim Ringer. These Boots Were Made for Walking, Nancy Sinatra. All Out of Love, Air Supply. All By Myself, Eric Carmen. Boom. Love and Other Catastrophes, a mixtape. All right. I don't know. I'm going to go down here to this little reaction because I'm going to give myself some applause. Yay me for reading that. And for the rest of you all, okay, I got a little applause from like one other person. Appreciate that. So if you want to jump in on the, okay, got some other applause. Thank you. If you want to jump in and either answer verbally, I'm typing in the chat right now, what is this short story about? So anyone can tell me if you think you know what the plot is, or if you think you can run it down, that'd be great. What is this short story about? And may not be a traditional short story, but still, it definitely tells a story. So I'll give y'all a few minutes. So if anybody wants to type in, that's cool. Okay, James says the story of a marriage or someone's love life. All right, that's cool. All right, anybody else want to jump in? You can speak if you want, or you can type in, okay, the story of a marriage or someone's love life told in song. All right. So talks about the stages of love. Okay, cool. Talks about the stages of love. All right. Anybody else got something to jump into? Want to throw in there? Anyone got like a different interpretation of it? All right, so we got it. It's love. All right. So the other thing I want to ask you is this a successful love story? Okay, processes from someone's relationship. Is this a successful love story or not? Y'all can be like, no, yes. Okay, let's see. But use the songs and artists to subscribe. Someone says no, this isn't successful. Uh, I mean, yeah. So if you think about it, it is fully a love story. Someone says yes, it is a successful love story. Okay, I mean, like some relationships, that it begins and it ends. But the key thing is, and the irony of it is, if you look at the very first song at the beginning of the story, which is "All by Myself" by Eric Carmen, if you go to the end of the story, once again you'll see the song at the very end is also "All by Myself" by Eric Carmen. So the speaker or whoever's telling this story through the song titles, they kind of end up right back where they left off. So interestingly enough, this still counts as short fiction. But if you notice, with all these short fiction pieces, they're told in untraditional ways. But that's the thing with short fiction. You only got so much room to do so much stuff that you gotta honestly come up with creative ways to keep people on the page. So, either by a thumbs up or if you want to write down in chat. So I'm just gonna put, is the story a creative story? Did the writer really approach this in a really cool way? Is this story a creative one? Yay or nay? You put some thumbs up. There's no thumbs down action on this, but if you choose to type it in, that's fine. So let's see. Some people are just like, So some of y'all could take it or leave it, I guess, as it responds to this thing. So next up, I'm gonna move on. Okay, we got one thumbs up. So is the story a creative story? Some of y'all like, yes. Some of y'all like, it's all right. It may not be your cup of tea, but that's cool. So next up, because I said I'm gonna continue on my reading journey for y'all. Okay, we got a thumbs up. Taylor said thumbs up to the creativeness of the story. Yeah, he uses song titles, so yeah. I mean, yeah, I would think this is probably one of the most emulated stories or styles that you can use. Hmm. I'm trying to think of, if I were to put together like a short story, would it be like a playlist for quarantine? What would the songs be? I probably would use All by Myself, but I'd probably use a couple of other song titles and artists that I would think of. So we got that. So this next piece, which is on page 95 of your textbook, if you can find it digitally, if you were able to use the link I gave you that could give you the connection to the digital book, you can use that. Or if you have the book in front of you, that's fine. So next up, I'm gonna read "Girl" by Jamaica Kincaid. What you need to know about the author, if you're on the book, you can see right now it gives you the picture of Jamaica Kincaid and gives you a little bit of her bio. So it says she was born Elaine Potter Richardson in Antigua. She had a good childhood. She was close with her mother, but apparently, like later on in life, she was treated very badly. She left Antigua in 1965 to work as an au pair in Westchester County in New York City. And it's interesting, in 1973, at having begun her writing career, she changed her name to Jamaica Kincaid because her family disapproved of her writing. So that's a really interesting move. And there are a lot of writers who changed. Okay, so which page, please? Page 95. That's what you're looking for in the textbook. The story is called "Girl." All right, so I'm gonna read this one, and yeah, pay attention, because literally the only hint I'll say is yeah, listen to what the speaker is saying. All right, girl. Wash the white clothes on Monday and put them on the stone heap. Wash the colored clothes on Tuesday and put them on the clothesline to dry. Don't walk bareheaded in the hot sun. Cook pumpkin fritters cook pumpkin fritters in very hot, sweet oil. Soak your little clothes right after you take them off. When buying cotton, to make yourself a nice blouse, but be sure that it doesn't have gum on it, because that way it won't hold up well after a wash. Soak saltfish overnight before you cook it. Is it true that you sing Benna in Sunday school? Benna is calypso music. Um, Always eat your food in such a way that it won't turn someone else's stomach. On Sundays, try to walk like a lady and not like the slut you are so bent on becoming. Don't sing Benna in Sunday school. You mustn't speak to wharf rat boys, not to even give directions. Don't eat fruits on the street. Flies will follow you. But I don't sing Benna on Sundays at all, never in Sunday school. This is how you sew on a button. This is how you make a buttonhole for the button you've just sewed on. This is how to hem a dress when you see the hem coming down. And so to prevent yourself from looking like a slut, I know you are so bent on becoming. This is how you iron your father's khaki shirt so that it doesn't have a crease. This is how you iron your father's khaki pants so that they don't have a crease. This is how you grow okra far from the house because okra tree harbors red ants. This is when you are growing dasheen, make sure it gets plenty of water or else it will make your throat itch when you are eating it. This is how you sweep a corner. This is how you sweep a whole house. This is how you sweep a yard. This is how you smile to someone you don't like too much. This is how you smile to someone you don't like at all. This is how you smile to someone you like completely. This is how you set a table for tea. This is how you set a table for dinner. This is how you set a table for a dinner with an important guest. This is how you set a table for lunch. And this is how you set a table for breakfast. This is how to behave in the presence of men who don't know you very well. And in this way, they won't recognize immediately the slut I have warned you against becoming. Be sure to wash every day, even if it is with your own spit. Don't squat down to play marbles. You are not a boy, you know. Don't pick people's flowers. You might catch something. Don't throw stones at blackbirds because it might not be a blackbird at all. This is how to make a bread pudding. This is how to make dokona. This is how to make pepper pie. This is how to make a good medicine for a cold. And this is how to make a good medicine to throw away a child before it becomes a child. This is how to catch a fish. This is how to throw a fish back you don't like, and that way something bad won't fall on you. This is how to bully a man. This is how a man bullies you. This is how to love a man. And if this doesn't work, there are other ways. And if they don't work, don't feel too bad about giving up. This is how to spit up in the air if you feel like it. And this is how to move quick so that it doesn't fall on you. This is how to make ends meet. Always squeeze the bread to make sure it's fresh. But what if the baker won't let me feel the bread? You mean to say that after all, you are really going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let near the bread? So that's called girl. So quick questions. And really what I'd like to know is, if you think about it, like, what is this story about? If you think about it. If you want to chime in, you can. If you want to type in, what is happening here? Who is this discussion between? Okay. So I'll just type in voice or just one. So are there two voices or just one? Because again, this is called girl. And we got this dominant voice that's talking. All right, and someone just put in, it's between a mother and a daughter. Definitely that's true. My other question is, does the daughter speak? We got a whole lot of the mother, but does the daughter speak? Does she get her voice in edgewise? Anybody? Okay, someone says, I agree. She speaks when they talk about bread. Okay, true. There's that portion of the story towards the end where he literally says, but what if the baker won't let me feel the bread? And you can see in the sentence itself, it's like the second sentence up from the bottom, it's in italics. So that's what the daughter kind of speaks. Someone just wrote, Taylor says, the daughter doesn't get much in, but she does come through. That's true, because at the top of page 96, there's literally a part where she says, the daughter says, but I don't sing Benna on Sundays at all, and never in Sunday school. So yeah, the daughter really doesn't get that much to say. But my question for you is also, how does this mother feel about the daughter? Does she love the daughter? I'm reading these comments and I'm like, woo, okay, I see a head nodding. She loves the daughter, but how? I'm to ask even further, how is she showing love for the daughter? If you think about it. Is it a tough love? Okay. All right, for some of y'all, if you're trying to answer, if you want to answer, because I can't hear some of y'all, click on your screen and you can turn your muted mic off if you want to speak. So if you're looking on your screen, look for the little microphone thingy and you can speak. But okay, someone says, by teaching her things that maybe she had to learn, maybe. Yeah, maybe, as often, the tough love with the parent is very much like, well, this is how I learned. How many of y'all have ever heard, well, this is how I grew up and this is how I learned it? Mm-hmm. Okay, someone agrees. Yeah, and so whether or not it may be right, or wrong, at least in a sense, this is the parents' tough love. Um, if you recall, we talk about tone in stories, and tone is generally how the character or the writer feels about the subject matter. So if you were to describe the tone of the main speaker, the mother's voice, and we think about tone, we're talking about emotion. What does the voice of the mother that's talking in Girl sound like? What is that tone? What is that tone if you think about it? Is it happy? Is it a soft tone? Is it a kind tone? What does the tone sound like to you as you read it?
I think it sounds angry,
Angry? Oh, okay.
like disappointed.
Angry and disappointed. Gotcha. All right, so we've got that. Maybe a disappointed parent, an angry parent,
Just
frustrated
stern.
parent. Anyone else?
Just stern.
The stern. Okay. Someone wrote assertive and judgmental. All right, got that. But I'll ask again. In the midst of the assertive and judgmental, the stern term and the tone and the angry tone, is there love in there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh
there
my.
is love there. All right. Someone put a thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, again, this piece is called Girl, and the mother is taking her time to explain these things to the girl. The other thing I would want to know is why does the mother keep bringing up this whole thing about to the daughter and saying like the slut that you're going to become, or you're dressing like this, don't do this, or people will see you as this slut. What is that whole perspective about? Why does the mother keep pushing that bit of narrative? It's like she's trying to tell the girl to avoid something, but what is up
That's
with
probably what happened to her.
oh, okay. And to her, you mean the mother?
Yeah, to the mother. Because most times when mothers go through things, they push it so hard on you, like pregnancy, like don't have pregnancy at an early age, or this gonna
Mhm.
happen to you, something happen to you.
Okay. So the mother doesn't, and it's interesting, the mother doesn't necessarily say, oh, this happened to me. But there may be
Right.
that assumption that because the parent is pushing it so much, it's because,
So much it happened to them.
yeah, yeah. Just as, they're just as their parents that are like, they had a dream that they wanted to achieve and they couldn't. So in some cases they push that dream onto the child. Like,
Onto their
okay,
child, right?
yeah. So it's like you're gonna
They
do,
may not seem any harm in it, but it's like it affects the child a lot.
yeah, yeah, it can. And so the interesting thing is the way we end the story, the mother even goes back to saying that whole thing about like, after all, are you really going to be the kind of woman who the baker won't let near the bread? So yeah, that is a continuing thing. So again, here we have yet another short story in which um it's kind of told non-traditionally. It's really told in like one voice. Oh, we got someone else coming in. Hold on, let me bring Ahmed into the class. Thank you for joining. Um, but at any rate, yeah, this is just kind of how these short stories are. They're very short, but is this a complete story as far as do you get an understanding of the relationship between the mother and the girl? So I see people nodding their heads. All right, or a thumbs up.
I don't think it's a complete. I think it's a vague.
You think it's a what now?
I think it's vague. Like this is
Vague.
just one part of the relationship.
Hmm. Okay, so we capture a moment of what could
Yeah.
be, of what is probably a very complex relationship. And again, the thing is though, was this story able to keep you on the page and keep you interested?
Mm,
I mean,
sure.
sure. Okay. I mean, yeah, I was reading it. I'd like to say that maybe my reading was helping y'all out with the interest. I don't know. But again, that's the thing about short stories versus novels. The novels have much more room and much more time to develop characters. Remember, with the short stories, if it's a very, very short story, you may not even get a character's name. You may just get jumping right into the action and you kind of get the gist of what's going on because in short stories, there's only so much room to tell a story. And especially if we're dealing with plot, which we're going to talk about in a minute, plot, which is, just the arrangement of how the events and the conflict that are being shown in the story are arranged, like beginning, middle, and end. Um, Sometimes if you don't have that much room, like in a novel, some novels may have 300, 400 pages. So they have time to introduce you to about 8 different characters and go into their backstories and explain what they look like and where they live. But with these short stories, it's like get in, get out, here's the story, boom, there we go. So this final reading that I'm going to do for this last of the 3 short pieces of fiction, this is on page 97 of your textbook, and it is called Slide to Unlock. And it's by the writer Ed Park. And I'm sure everybody's got a smartphone at this point, so everyone has to deal with, to the point where you have to slide to unlock, you know, particular things, and you got codes, and these days we got passwords for all sorts of stuff. And so this story was written in 2013, so about 7 years ago, but it still is connected to today. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. Slide to unlock. And I will say this, is you look how it's set up on the page, it's really interesting. And it's also written in second person. And remember when we talked about the different types of narratives, remember first person, that's usually personal narrative, like I, me, that type of thing. Second person is usually you, your, or us. Third person, which I'm always pushing on you to write your papers in third person, is that he, she, they, and one. But this piece is written as in second person, as in you. So it's almost like you, the reader, being pulled in as if this is your story. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. Slide to unlock. You cycle through your passwords. They tell the secret story. What's most important to you, the things you think can't be deciphered. Words and numbers stored in the lining of your heart. Your daughter's name backward. Your daughter's name backward plus the year of her birth. Your daughter's name backward plus the year of her birth plus the last 2 digits of the year of her birth. Your daughter's name backward plus the current year. They keep changing. The blur in the brain. Every day you punch in 3 or 4 of these memory strings to access the home laptop, the work laptop, the email, the Facebook, the voicemail, frequent flyer account. Every week you're asked to change at least 1 to increase the security. You feel virtuous when the security meter changes from red to green. Your hometown backward. Your hometown plus the year you were born. Your hometown backward plus the year you were born. Olaf Fub, 1970. There are hints when you forget. Mother's maiden name, first car, favorite color, elementary school, first girl you kissed, that should be 1. First boy, can the hints just be passwords? Stop stalling. First sex, you remember the day, month, year. The full year or just the last 2 digits. First concert you attended. Name of the hospital where you were born. You wonder, who writes these prompts? Someone has to write them. Tip, never use the same password for more than 1 account. I think some of y'all know that one. Sometimes we don't do that. All right, last 4 digits of the first 4 number. Last 4 digits of the first work number. Your daughter's best friend's name backward. Your boss's first name. Your first boss's last name plus the year you were born. These are a lot of passwords. If you could type out all of your passwords, their entire silent history, they would fill a book you could read in a minute. Last 4 digits of your cell backwards. Favorite sports team. Favorite sports team backwards. Service. Pet's name. You knew a guy who had a dog named Service. You knew two guys with dogs named Service. They didn't like each other. The 2 guys, that is. The dogs, who knows? You're pretty sure one was female, the other male. Pet's name backwards plus current year. Favorite sibling. Sibling who never let you down, plus last 2 digits of current year. Mix of capitals and lowercase. 6 to 8 characters long, 10 to 14. Stop stalling. Mix of numerals and letters, at least 1 symbol, pound, comma, percentage, asterisk, comma, exclamation point, period, exclamation point. Father's hometown. Mother's maiden name backwards. The girl at work you can't stop thinking about. The girl at work plus the current year. The girl at work backwards. The girl that worked backward and lowercase plus the last 2 digits of current year. Passwords mean nothing to the machine. The machine lets you in to do what you need to do. It doesn't judge, it doesn't care. Your passwords appear as a row of dots. Favorite film, but that keeps changing. Vertigo, Groundhog Day. Favorite actor, actor who first made you hard. Backward plus current year. Best friend from high school. Best friend from college. Stop stalling. Year you last saw your daughter. Year you last saw your daughter plus her name. There's a file on your work computer called passwords. But what if you forget the password to get into your work computer? Her favorite toy. What she named her bike. First girl you dated in college, backwards and lowercase. The shop around the corner, Buffalo 66. Date of first death in the family. Grandfather's name backward plus birth year. Year you finally started getting your shit together. Citizen Kane, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Year of first communion plus name of priest. Stop stalling. Favorite author backward and lowercase with middle letter capped for no reason save randomness. Street address of the house you grew up in. Sibling you don't talk to. Spouse of sibling you don't talk to, whom you text when you're drunk. Stop stalling. Your last name backward plus the day, month, and year you find yourself at an ATM at the ass end of Hurdle Avenue with the tip of a gun pressed between your shoulder blades. The gun in the hand of a guy who followed you from down the street, affecting a limp, a big guy in a black windbreaker and a Bill starter cap, who stepped behind you, quiet as a shadow. The big guy with the dead eyes behind $5 sunglasses, who already has your phone and wallet and the bottle of wine you thought it would be a good idea to run out and get at 10 in the evening. She said she'd stay inside, and you said you would hurry. And it was a good night for a walk. So while you're at it, taking in the cool night air, why not get some cash for the weekend, for the week to come? The big guy with the very hard gun who is saying password and right now and stop stalling. So what's good, y'all? What exactly is going on with this character? Because we have the story, the character talking as in you, but then we have a part where the story kind of changes. So why is this person running all these passwords through their head? What has happened to make them think of having to think of all these passwords? What's going on? What do we now know? If you got a clue, you know, there's no wrong answer. What do you think just went down? Okay, anybody? All right, can I get a thumbs up if you're still out there on the live and you haven't dozed off? Can we get some thumbs up real quick? I just want to make sure that you're here. Okay, I got James. Okay, all right, Jay, thank you. All right, a few other folks, I hope you're awake. So anyway, okay, so Taylor wrote in. Okay, Ahmed, thank you. Taylor wrote in. Okay, thank you. All right, folks coming in. So Taylor writes, the writer got robbed. James writes that the reason he was running through all the passwords was to remember the one he needed to tell the mother, all right, yeah, to get that money out. They're being forced to remember all of their passwords to save their life. Oh, okay. Thank you for reminding me. I will let this person back into Zoom. All right. Sorry about that, Anna. Yeah. So in other words, they're being forced to remember their passwords to save their life. So that's generally the story. So the way the story is told is interesting. So we get the part where the person is thinking all these passwords and being reminded of all these different things to remember their passwords, but in real time they're being robbed by this robber. So it's almost like the light is flashing before your eyes, but the robber's already taken their wallet, their phone, their bottle of wine, which I think is trifling, and now they're waiting for the cash. So yeah, again, another creative way to do a short story. Do we know the name of the person being robbed?
Mm-mm.
Nope, not at all. And that's the interesting thing again. But is it important that we know the name of the person being robbed in this short story? Is that important?
No.
No, not really at all. And so the key thing here, because it's a short story, it's about the action. Like, think about it. If we talk about plot, and most of the times, and this is a good time for me to pull this up, and please excuse me if you can't see it, because plot is very much the same thing that we dealt with when we were dealing with theater and drama. And remember, with plot, there was that little design. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring up the whiteboard, and y'all can kind of tell me if y'all remember what this is. What is this? What is it?
Plot pyramid.
The plot pyramid. There we go. All right. Please excuse my handwriting. Plus, I got this little writing thing that I can write on the screen, but it doesn't have a fine point. So this is Freytag's plot pyramid. And just like in drama, you can also apply the plot pyramid to fiction. So, you know, you got your exposition. You got, okay, let me add someone else in. Thank you. You got the rising action. Cool. Then you got, ooh, that's a bad spelling, but that's rising action. Then you got climax. Then you got that falling action. And so all this is familiar because we've seen this in how plot works in theater. But it's the same setup because in fiction, because remember, a play is still telling you a story. And so Freytag's pyramid still works, whether it's drama or anything else. So this is generally what we're working with. So I know this is an ugly plot pyramid. I'm gonna stop sharing it because I'm quite embarrassed by the look of it. But at any rate, that's how the story works. But the thing about short stories sometimes is they don't have enough room to give you a whole bunch of exposition or to tell you too much. So in this story, even how it's told is interesting because they just jump right into the action of the person remembering the past words. But it's really not until you get to that last paragraph of the short story where they kind of give you the where this is occurring and the fact that there's a second person in the story. So if you read through this, you know, this short story, there's a part where you keep seeing the word "stop stalling" in what do you call it? In I can't think of the word, italics. So that's a second person. So through this whole time, we're reading about this person dealing with this experience, but at the same sense, there's a second person in there, kind of like the short story we just read with Girl. The person doesn't say much, but there's still a conflict that's going on. And so that's the other thing you need to remember when we're dealing with drama, not drama, with fiction. And especially when we're dealing with not just these chapters, which is like, you know, the short stories themselves were in chapter 4, but chapter 7, in which we're dealing with plot and how that relates to fiction, is a really interesting thing. So if you're able to turn to page 123, that's kind of our tie-in into plot. So I'm shifting from these short stories to really just give you a couple of tips. I'm very hopeful that I can pull up the screen so you can see the whole thing with plot. I've kind of been a pain trying to pull things up because what I'm realizing is some of the shared screens that I've been trying to share, the screens themselves have been kind of blurry. So hopefully, oh, that's not the right screen. You'll be able to see it. But if anything, I'll explain it this way. So when we deal with plot, remember, the important elements of plot is this. Plot is what happens to the story, or what happens in the story, and how it happens, and who it happens to. So when we're dealing with fiction, those are the key things that we're dealing about within plot. All right? What happens in the story, how it happens, and who it happens to. So those are those three. The other elements that you should definitely check out, and this is for plot, and if I could pull this page up, because I know it's hiding somewhere. And I'm going to try to share the screen one more time to see if I can find what I was looking for. So I'm going to go to here. And let's see. Bring me plot. Bring me plot. Come on, plot. All right. Ask, can you see this page, or is it super blurry? Can you all see the page that I put up?
It's good enough.
It's good enough. Okay. All right. So there's a section. You can see my finger right there, my little fingernail stuff. So conflict. Basically, we as readers jump into stories because the interest holds us because we're heightened by the stories.
Oh wait, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're looking at your downloads and stuff.
Okay, you're not seeing the page?
No.
Okay. Ah, Lordy. All right. Thank you for telling me. All right. Well, if anything, I'll try to pull this, the screen up later. Let me try again. Can you see the page now? There should be a page that says conflict.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right. So again, the reader's interest and involvement.
Yes, we can see it.
You can see it? Okay, cool. Are heightened by the story's conflict, which is the struggle between the opposing forces. But the key roles that you need to know, and you already know this, are the protagonist and the antagonist. Those are the two roles and the important factors in the story when it comes to conflict. And so the protagonist isn't always the hero. The protagonist is basically a story's main character or principal character. And the antagonist, and this is very important, is someone or something presented in opposition to the protagonist. So sometimes the antagonist can be a villain, it can be an actual person, but sometimes the antagonist is not a character at all, but a situation. For instance, war or poverty or an event like a natural disaster or different things like that that challenges the protagonist. So the protagonist isn't always a who, it can also be a what. So that's the thing we're dealing with when you're dealing with plot and especially conflict. So always keep in mind that the conflict is what keeps us on the page, and watching what happens between the protagonist and the antagonist is what kind of keeps us focused. So like I showed you before with my little goofy drawing, the plot pyramid is still active when it comes to the plot of the story. So same old thing, exposition, rising action or complications to a climax, and then finally the resolution. So that's what we're always following. So as you read these stories, you start to pay attention to things. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit to see my little arrow. And it says, finally, in some experimental stories, a distinct exposition component may be absent, as it is in Amanda Brown's Love and Catastrophes, a Mixtape. So in that short story, there isn't really any exposition. We don't know the names of the two people that are in a relationship. We don't know much about it. All we are given are these titles to these songs and the artists of these songs, and we figure it out that way. Because writers don't necessarily have to do a whole lot of stuff, but especially when you have very little room, when you're dealing with short stories, you have to get a little more experimental, and you have to decide which is going to be helpful as far as you being a reader. So in plot, there's another little thing that you all, aside from the stages of plot that we've talked about, there's also sequencing. And by sequencing, that just means the order of events in a story. So the basic order of events that we know of in fiction are beginning, middle, and end. But as we see now, some writers, if they choose to, they can work outside of just the usual beginning, middle, and end. And they use things like good old flashbacks and foreshadowing, which are the things that we also heard about in drama. So remember, a flashback moves out of sequence to examine an event or situation that occurred before the time in the story. So yeah, it's just somewhere in the story, someone brings up some stuff from the past that has occurred before the present stuff that we're reading now. Foreshadowing, if you remember, is the introduction early in a story of comments, situations, events, and characters or objects that hint to things to come. So all these different things you can kind of see working out in stories. If you think about A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and that's a whole bunch of stories about flashbacks, like Ebenezer Scrooge in his present day. He's a mean old man, you know, he's not letting people get off work for Christmas, all this other stuff. And then goes home at night, goes to sleep, and his ghost wakes him up. And the ghost is like, you will be visited by these three spirits, and you need to change your ways. And you're going to be visited by the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future. And that ghost who's telling him this, that's the foreshadowing. So he's already telling Scrooge something that's coming. And then the ghost of Christmas past represents the flashbacks. So the ghost takes Scrooge and says, come on, we're going to look at your past and see how you became this miser that you are now. And so that's told in a series of flashbacks. Then we get the ghost of Christmas present, who shows Scrooge what's going on all around the town, the people he's connected to while he sleeps. And then the ghost of Christmas future is the one that takes him into the future to see things to come. So I think that's one of the easier ways to talk about foreshadowing and flashbacks. But I'm gonna give you one more example of flashbacks that I think is a little bit more modern, that I think some of y'all definitely recognize. So let me see if I can find it. All right, if I can pull it up, that'd be great. Sometimes I'm still getting the hang of this stuff. All right, let me click share computer sound out to my screen for the viewing clip. All right, so this is an example of flashbacks, and you may recognize this example.
Here's the deal. Just give me the facts.
Just the facts. Only the facts.
Breathe, focus, keep it simple.
No doubt. Okay, so I'm at this art museum with my cousin Ignacio, right? And there was this like abstract expressionism exhibit. But you know me, I'm more like a neo-cubist kind of guy, right? But there was this one Rothko that was sublime, bro. Oh my God.
Luis.
Okay, sorry. I just get excited and stuff. But anyway, when Ignacio tells me, yo, I met this crazy fine writer chick at the spot last night, like fine, like crazy stupid fine. And he goes up to the bartender and goes, look at the girl I'm with. You know what I'm saying? She's crazy stupid fine, right? The bartender's all like, yeah, crazy stupid fine. So this writer chick tells Ignacio, yo, I'm like a boss in the world of guerrilla journalism, and I got mad connects with the peeps behind the curtains, you know what I'm saying? Ignacio's like, for real? And she's like, yeah. You know what? I can't tell you who my contact is because he works with the Avengers. Oh, no. Yeah, and this dude sounds like a badass, man. Like, he comes up to her and says, yo, I'm looking for this dude who's new on the scene, who's like flashing this fresh tack, who's got like bomb moves, right? Who you got? She's like, well, we got everything nowadays. We got a guy who jumps, we got a guy who swings, we got a guy who crawls up the walls. You gotta be more specific. And he's like, I'm looking for a guy that shrinks. And I'm like, damn, I got all nervous because I keep mad secrets for you, bro. So I asked Ignacio, did the badass tell the stupefied writer chick to tell me, because I'm tight with that man, that he's looking for him?
And? What'd he say?
He said yes.
All right. All sorts of flashbacks up in that piece. So I really enjoy Ant-Man. And I especially like that little part just because it's humorous. But that is a way in which flashbacks work. Again, present time going on right now, and then a character comes in and retells a story of something that happened earlier. So yeah, this is kind of where we are with that. Next up, and this is kind of have to close out for class today. The next things you need to read, especially in this chapter 7, we're dealing with plot, and then also chapter 8 is coming up, which deals with character, and hopefully we'll talk about that next week. But here's all these things that you should checklist when you're thinking about plot. What happens in the story? Where does the story's formal exposition section end? Like, when is all the explaining done? What do readers learn about the characters in this section? What do readers learn about setting? What possible conflicts are there? What is the story's central conflict? What other conflicts are presented? Who is the protagonist? Who serves as the antagonist? So all these things, this is a checklist that you can use to kind of pick the story apart once you're done reading it. Now, what I'm bringing up next is 2 other short stories. They're a little bit longer than the short fiction, but you definitely want to read Kate Chopin's The Story of an Hour and Neil Gaiman's How to Talk to Girls at Parties. Kate Chopin's story is really interesting because she was a writer that was, came up in the 1800s and was kind of banned because her books were ahead of their time. Like she wrote sexually frank books. She wrote about a woman who gets with a man outside of her marriage. And she also just wrote about all sorts of racial and all sorts of other taboos. One thing you need to know about Kate Chopin is this is the period where she was a very wealthy woman, came from a very wealthy family, had her own money and stuff. So when she gets married, she ends up living on her husband's cotton plantation in Louisiana. She's also lived in New Orleans. So what happens though, there's certain laws in New Orleans at the time called Napoleonic law that really were the benefit of the men. So you could be a dude with no money and you marry a very wealthy woman, but under this code, because you're a man, you kind of get the majority control over the woman's finances. And God forbid the woman die, then you take the money. Like regardless of if she had a will and all sorts of other stuff, as the man in this particular code, in this particular time, the men had all the money. We're also thinking about a time where women didn't have a chance to vote. And so that's not saying that women, I don't think just because you didn't hear about it, wasn't that women didn't like it. They clearly didn't. And so the way in which Miss Chopin writes a story called The Story of the Hour, it really is kind of about a woman who was living in this type of society, knowing that her husband, who she might love or might not love, has control over, her life in a sense. And so word comes around that he's died. And so this story, which takes place in an hour, is about her coming to terms with her husband's death and whether she should be sad about it or actually happy. And that's all I'm going to tell you about that. So at this point, what you'll need to do is definitely read The Story of the Hour and How to Talk to Girls at Parties. Now keep in mind, we're kind of running behind because of that extra week of spring break, which kind of pushed stuff behind. So we'll just have to play catch up. So by the time we meet back up next week, even though your calendar says student conferences and writing literary arguments and such, we still need to get through making sure that on Saturday you have your short paper number 2 in. And I also will work on making sure that you all get the overview for your short paper number 3 and give you some good explanations. But between now and next Tuesday, you should have read The Story of an Hour, How to Talk to Girls at Parties, read chapter 8 about character, and also the short stories A and P on page 160 and 165, and The Girl with Bangs on page 188 and 192. And it's quite interesting because especially about characters, we'll talk a little bit more about characters and some of these things you've already seen. Like in drama, remember we talked about different types of characters, like you got your protagonist and your antagonist, and then you have well-rounded characters or those 3-dimensional characters, and then you have those flat characters or those 2-dimensional characters that you don't really know that much about. It's primarily the same thing in stories, but there are some minor differences in between. So keep in mind once again that your reading response number 8 is due Friday, tomorrow, April 3rd by 11 p.m. And your short paper number 2 on the character analysis is due Saturday, April 4th by 11 p.m. on Blackboard. I'll let you all know also that don't worry about your essay proposal forms. If you turn them in late, those won't be penalized at all. You're not going to lose 5 points for that because we're all playing catch up and we're trying to all, make sense of this long distance learning. I'm not going to penalize you for that. But we're still going to try to do our best to get everything in as soon as possible and as we can, so we can end off the the semester right and y'all don't feel like you just like ran a marathon. So that's where we are. At this point, are there any questions about anything that we've read so far?
I tried to use the online textbook but it wasn't really working for me. Like,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure. Like, I registered for it,
Yes.
but then I didn't really know how to get to the book. So I was like, I'm not sure if I did it wrong or.
Huh, okay. I'll try to look back over those instructions. Were you able to enter in the code?
No, that's the thing. I registered, but I didn't know where to enter the code at.
Oh, okay. So that means what I'll have to do is I'll try to go online and take a look and figure out how to do that. And I'll also talk to the professor who provided that information.
Okay.
So I'll try to help you out. So let me just write a note real quick. Let's put that down somewhere. All right. All right. We'll try that out. So you don't have the hard copy book? Or you don't? Okay.
Maybe push come to shove. I might as well just get it.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We can help you out. So you don't have to go outside, to go get the book or whatever, or maybe order it online. We'll see.
Let's order online, most likely.
Order it online. Okay. Any other
That's all.
questions? That's all? Okay. We'll see what we can do. Again, I'm trying to play catch up with a lot of things, folks. So my emails and responses may take a while. My comments may take a while, but I'll try to get them back to you before you turn in your papers and such. So, thank you so much for all of you being able to, to log in. I'm still working on trying to find the best way for you all to get the lessons, especially when it comes to recording the lessons and having them available. So I'm just going to practice a little bit more on Blackboard, Collaborate Ultra. So you might see some samples of me trying to record classes and such. So I may post an announcement on Blackboard saying, please try to access a particular thing that I've recorded and just kind of key in or provide like I guess like a check-in saying, hey, I see what you've recorded and I can actually access it. Because if I'm able to really get Blackboard Collaborate Ultra working, you could check in like during the times when I'm teaching the classes, or if you're unable to, those recorded links will be there so you can just watch the class. So that's all for now. Thank y'all very much for tuning in. Be safe out there. And again, if you have any questions, I'm currently on my office hours, so you can send an email or you can reach me through my Google Voice number as well. If I don't get back to you right away, most likely it's because I'm conferencing with some other folks. So y'all be safe, take care, have a good day. All right. Thank you.